Hi guys, I welcome you guys all back to my channel, and today I am here to just have a chat about The Kingdom of Souls by Renee Barron. I do want to preface that this was actually sent to me, so thank you so much for sending me this book. I was super excited to know that I was getting this book for free. I buy all my own books, and it was just nice that I didn't have to buy this one. However, I have so many thoughts because I finished this book this week. So I should point this out by saying, yes, there will be spoilers. In order for me to do a non-spoiler review, I had to sit down and write out a script and do all of that. And I just kind of wanted this video to be more free-spirited and just saying the thoughts that came to my head organically. So for that reason, if you do not want to hear spoilers for this book, probably not the best video for you to watch because there will be spoilers. So this story focuses on a girl named Ara. She is the daughter of two very, very powerful witch doctors. Her mom, Arti, who is the Ka priestess of the kingdom that they live in, and her father, who is Orishi. He is a witch doctor, but more of like a medicine man, essentially. He's a healer. They're from two different tribes, and they are both very powerful. So basically what happens is every year at the Blood Moon Festival, Heka comes to visit and grants new kids powers or magic. Ara has not gotten hers yet. She's approaching that age where they say, like, if you don't have it by then you don't have it. And for her, it's a complete smack in the face because both of her parents are very, very, very powerful in magic. So it only would make sense that she too got magic. However, the magic's not coming. At the very same time that she's dealing with this, children in the kingdom start going missing. So she's freaking out because she feels like her mother, who's the Ka priestess, the Ka priestess is the person that is over the Orisha temple, because in the kingdom they worship the Orishas. In the tribal land where her family or her mother and father are from, they worship Heka. Now, I will preface this also by stating that I do not have a very strong knowledge in the Orishas and Heka. It's like I've been hearing a lot about them recently. CBB, Kingdom of Souls. I've read a couple books now where they mention Orishas, but I don't have enough knowledge about Orishas to really input whether or not they're accurate depictions of them in these stories. But as a person who has no knowledge of them, I found the way that Renee wrote them into the story, I found them very interesting. And the reason is the humanity of them. For example, Remek was the god of the sun, I think. And he was the big brother. And the Orishas are kind of weakened in this story. And they're weakened from their battle with the Demon King. And the Demon King was created by one of the Orishas who has no name. They've erased her name from knowledge because they just don't want her. I guess they don't want her to have the accolades or whatever. But she is who created the Demon King. And the Demon King became Demon King because he was actually he was eating the cause of other souls. And the cause are basically your soul, your spirit. So in the tribal lands, you actually have the ability to travel through realms, through the spirit world, through the world itself, through your Ka, except only very powerful witch doctors can do it. So like Ara's grandmother, her paternal grandmother, she can do it. She has the power. She's strong enough to do it. However, again, Ara has none of this. Ara struggles with magic. Her grandma has tried. Her dad has tried. Her mother has completely given up on her. She has a complete disconnect with her mother and her. The way that most girls crave that type of connection with their mother, Ara did as well, except that her mother could not give that back. And the reason that her mother couldn't give it back was because of the trauma that her mother experienced before she even married her father. And that is a whole topic on itself. So what I want to do is kind of pause here and talk about the dynamic of the kingdom. So there is an almighty one who's at the top, And then it branches into it's a triangle. So the top is the Almighty One, and then on this side is the Vizier, who does like the daily kingdom things and tasks, and then the Ka Priestess, who is over the temple, the seers, and guides the people in their worship of the Orishas. So the Vizier is a position that is passed down through the family line. There is one particular line of family, Ara's best friend and crush, basically, Rujek, who I can never pronounce his name correctly. He is a very strong character in this storyline, but at the same time, he's not. I'll touch on that again. And then we have his two guards, Kira and Malik. And then on Ara's side, we have her mother and father, her grandmother. She has two friends. One of them, she's a seamstress. And then the other friend, he works in the temple with his uncle and the Ka Priestess. She has three servants, three servants, Tara and two others that I always forget. So those are kind of the main characters that you keep seeing revolve around in the story. But obviously it's told from the perspective of Ara. And so the kids start going missing, and Ara feels compelled to figure out how to find them, how to help them. And this is the part of the story where I felt like Ara was reckless. And to be honest, Ara as a character drove me absolutely insane. She had moments where I wanted to just kind of scream at her and be like, what are you doing, you stupid, stupid girl? And I feel like other people in the book yelled at her like that at the same time. But for me, it was like, oh my God, why would you do this? So the beginning of the book starts off really slow, and it's a lot of world building, and it's a lot of creating the space for your imagination to actually take place of the story. So for me, I struggled getting to the first 100 pages, to be very honest. It was slow. I was trying to get there and just trying and trying. But once I got there, it was hard to put the book down. Luckily, I had the audiobook and the book. So I would read like a chapter and then catch myself up on the audiobook. And then while I was at work for 9 hours, I listened to the audiobook all the way through and then kept track of where I was in the book. So when I got home, I could just read it. I loved the audiobook. It was great. But let's see. So we're going to get into the plot. This is heavy spoilers. Nothing that I've said before this is spoilers. These are spoilers. From now on, you have been warned. So Ara actually does what the charlatans do. So the people who have the ability to get magic but don't, some of them crave magic so much that they will do spells where the magic will take years off their life, will take time off their lives to give them the opportunity to use magic. So Ara first does this by using this spell that the charlatan gave her to figure out who is taking the children. It's a very admirable reason to do it. The problem is you don't know how much it's going to take off your life. You don't know what the consequences are. So at this very point, I am hooked. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. We're finally going to see, is the Vizier actually stealing children? Holy crap. What are they going to do when they find out? I was like, man, this book, I know this book is barely getting started, so it's about to go down. And then we learn the person who had been taking the kids is Arti, Ara's mom. And literally all hell breaks loose from there. This is where we talk about Artie's mother and her trauma. And her trauma has so much to do with the drive of this story. The story is about Ara, but this story is literally the consequences of Artie's trauma. And it's reiterated over and over and over and over again by Ara throughout the story, to where you kind of feel like we could have just had a story about Artie at this point, because the story is about Ara, but Artie, when she first left the tribal lands to the kingdom, she was really into the Almighty One and he was into her. However, the Vizier, who was the current Vizier, he accused Artie of using magic to persuade the Almighty One to fall in love with her. So that meant that the Ka priest at the time got his way. However, the Ka priest was a horrible man. He manipulated and abused women throughout his entire position in that particular thing, and he destroyed their minds. So basically, it's like the magical form of physical abuse, if that makes sense. He would take their memories and just dilute them. He would add memories of his own that were traumatic and terrible into these women's minds, and Artie was one of the main ones affected. And so you learn that during all of this time, when she is being traumatized and she's being abused and horribly treated, she actually encounters the Orisha, Remek, during this whole time, and she begs him to take away this pain, to make it stop. He does nothing. She's wishing for Heka to come and save her. Nothing. You know who comes to talk to her, to rescue her? The Demon King. Because the Demon King is not actually dead. He is just in a place where he cannot fully manifest himself back, because the Orishas did what they could to hold his Ka, and they keep his Ka in a box. It's so much. Like, basically, this story literally could have been prevented if one of the gods that they claim to have worshipped actually cared about the people that they claimed to care about. Remek and his sisters and his brothers, the other Orishas, claimed they did everything that they did for the people, but when it came down to saving the people, they didn't do anything, and they're left with an Artie who is so broken that her only mission is helping the Demon King. It's to the point where she has put a curse on her daughter so that her daughter cannot actually act against her. She has put a curse on her husband to make him a vessel to hold a demon. Like, she pulls a demon out of the demon realm so that he can embody her husband's body, so that she can get pregnant by the demon to have a half demon baby sister for Ara. It is so much. It's like, when this movie comes out, I'm going to watch it. I need to see what they're going to keep. I need to see what they're going to do with the bits that they have, because it's so much. Even the relationship between Ara and her little demon sister, it's so complex, because her sister is half demon, but she was born with a purpose. She was born with the only reason her existence was here was to awaken the Demon King. Like, that was her purpose. That was what she was made for. Blah, blah, blah. But every story, we all know, when somebody is made for a specific purpose, they never actually do that specific purpose. So at this point, we learn that her sister is like the cause of world destruction. She's having visions of people's bodies just being piled up on top of each other, rivers of blood, all of this stuff. But she has no magic of her own, and she's still tied to her mother's curse. I really appreciated the way that Renee did this. I felt like it was so much in this story, and it wasn't, I thought that it was going to be a typical, it's a trilogy, so we're going to spend the first book like explaining to you everything you need to know before we actually get into the story. Actually, that was maybe the first 100 pages, but the rest of the book was an actual story. I felt myself very anxious. I needed to know what happened. I kept trying to figure out how the heck was Ara going to get magic, because the book was titled like the last witch doctor. So Heka is the person who granted magic to the tribal lands. And my lip gloss is really piling on today. Artie kind of takes the magic away from the tribal lands. And at the very same time that she's doing this, she doesn't know that her half-demon daughter is actually in the tribal lands, starting a war with the witch doctors that are like the council, basically, including her grandmother. And she ends up killing all of them because she wants their Ka. Because like the Demon King, she consumes Kas, and the more that she consumes, the more powerful she becomes. And, Ara's grandmother is G. She actually tied her Ka to Ara. So when she died, her Ka went into Ara, thus giving her the magic that she needs to actually fight her sister. The problem is the Orishas finally get involved. Finally, barely actually, they barely get involved. They're pretty chaotic. I feel like for people who, again, I don't understand how the Orishas work. I feel like if they know what's happening, they've seen the visions. Like, why did they choose to be so cryptic with Ara and Rujek? Because Rujek apparently is a half Craven, and Cravens are literally people created by Remek, and their bodies are naturally anti-magic, and that's why him and Ara can't ever get together. It's so many things. We're also going to ignore the fact that he slept with Ara's sister and claim that he didn't know it was her. I'm just going to leave that there, because if you've read the book, you know that scene you were reading, you were like, boy, if you don't stop lying, you know you lying. Like, boys are trash, even in the fantasy world, apparently. But, so, let me think. The cliffhanger of this story is that Ara is the reincarnation of the no-named Orisha who created the Demon King. So every time that this Orisha has died, she has been bought back, because the Orishas were created by the cataclysmic creation, I guess. So every time she dies, she expects to go back to the beginning, and she doesn't get to, because they bring her back and reincarnate her into someone else until she learns her lesson. My battery's about to die. Great. Okay, so new battery. That is actually not fully charged. Jesus help us. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly wrap that idea up. I really enjoyed the book. I felt like there was a little bit of pacing problems in the beginning, but everything else kind of left me with my jaw wide open, especially the end. I do highly recommend this book. I actually cannot wait for the second book, but I know that she has another, I think it's a middle grade book coming out, Renee in the Dark or something like that. It's not Renee in the Dark. It is not. Okay, hold on. So the book comes out 2020. So May of 2020, and it's Maya and the Rising Dark. So I also will be getting that. But the moment that she announces Kingdom of Souls 2, I will be getting that book as well. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I just really wanted to give my genuine thoughts without trying to be super analytical and using literary terms that I just don't feel like doing right now. So just wanted to chat with you guys. I want to know, did you read the book? Do you want to read the book? And I need to know your thoughts, especially if you read the book. Tell me what you thought about the twist ending, because I was literally sitting there like, that makes so much sense. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out my channel, and until the next time, guys, bye.